Gosh. So we're recording this, and Patricia and I have just been having a discussion about how can we be useful in homeschooling when you are now, as parents, getting lots and lots of resources from school, and you've also got the BBC Bitesize as a framework as well. So actually, you've got that, and then you've got a lot of online materials, and you've probably got lots of textbooks and things, and you probably have some idea of what your children are learning at school. So we're thinking, okay, so as coaches, where's our value? And can we be valuable? I think we know we are, because we're getting feedback that people are really enjoying the sessions that we're doing. So we thought what we might do is experiment and have a session that says, let's just take a topic. Let's imagine that your child is saying to you, I don't know how to do this, mum or dad, or aunt or uncle, or whoever the responsible adult is, and can you help me with it? And in order to do that, one, you either need to understand how it works, and you might know how that particular problem works, or that particular learning works. In which case you might fall into what we would describe in coaching as a tell process, where you kind of run to the rescue and go, oh, this is how you do it. So with the focus on independent learning is wonderful to we coaches, because that's what we're aiming for too. So we want to get involved in an enabling or participatory process, which we would call a coaching process. And that is more of an exploratory process. So we thought we'd do something very live. So Patricia, where should we go? We're using BBC Bitesize because it's such a fab resource, isn't it, right now? So I'm just going to close a few things down. Let me just close a few things down. I'll edit this out because you don't want to see what I've got open.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of parents have sent me timetables and said, what do you think? Am I missing anything? Can you give me some feedback on this? And a lot of them have slotted in the BBC Bitesize with things that we've asked them to do. And I saw one today that I really loved, and she had just put in, she'd picked out so the things that tied in with what we're asking children to do. And then she had this random science lesson about space and the solar system, which is not what we're teaching. And she said, oh, I put that in because my daughter loves that. She's interested in that. So I thought that was a really nice way of using it as well. Just having a look, don't feel tied to following it to the letter and to the day and to the lesson, but just pick out, one, what ties in with school learning, and two, even more important, what ties in with what your children love. I thought that was good.
So that's fantastic, and it's really nice that the parent that you've been speaking to feels confident enough to be able to do that, because this is where everyone's making it up as we go along. That's what's happening in schools, that's what's happening at the BBC. I think they're developing things as we speak, and bless them, the last 3 or 4 weeks they've been busy putting things together. So everyone's making this up. This is extraordinary times, isn't it? So no one's planned for this. Chances are, if it ever happens again, we'll kind of have some frame of reference and know what works. So I think that's really good, Patricia, that particular parent is really confident in bringing in another area that the child is really interested in to explore. So well done. That's exactly what we would do, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, as you keep reminding me, Patricia, what we are doing is we're building a learning mindset, whether that's an English like an English mindset, or a maths mindset, a science mindset. That's what we're doing, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. And it is that learning. I was talking to another mum, her daughter is about 6, and she said, we're trying really hard to do what you do in school. Now, she's a TA in school as well. that mistakes are good. So she said her little girl's getting really upset and saying, "Mummy, can I have a rubber? I want to rub it out. It's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong." And we, unless it's art and technical drawing, we're very much no rubbers. You don't need to rub it out. It is through your mistakes that you learn. For example, you know, you can't learn to ride a bike without falling off loads of times.
No.
So you can't learn to add without making loads of mistakes on the way, and those mistakes are really, really valuable. So it was great to chat to her, and she was saying to me, I keep reminding her that the mistakes are good and we want to see those mistakes. So it was nice to hear that too.
And that's like you know, how you work out a maths problem, isn't it? It's the how you work it out that's more important than the actual end result, which is the answer to.
Yeah.
So you might not get to the actual answer, but your workings out might be pretty much along the right lines, and that's something to celebrate and something to develop, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I sent an email to a little girl in my class today. She's year 6 and she'd done loads of maths. She's really great at maths. So I said to her, I said, "This is really great, you've done all this. Now, how about this?" And I set a little challenge, which is like letters added together, multiplied together, make more letters. She had to work out which was which. And she emailed me back and she said, "I know the process and the explaining is more important than the answer." I thought, yes, good girl.
And that's absolutely fantastic. Absolutely. And we celebrate that. And again, as coaches, that's the whole thing. It's the journey, isn't it? We're heading towards a destination, which is whatever you want to have happen. And it's what we learn along the way that really matters, because that comes into play time and time again. Patricia, I'm going to share the screen. We're going to go, as we can see here, we are in BBC Bitesize.
Yeah.
Are we going to go? We're just playing. So this is really uncharted territory, and we're going to test 2 things out. How do we prepare a lesson for an independent learner? And if our child says to us, "I can't do this, can you help?" What we would suggest is, so that you can prep not only what the answer is, but more importantly, how you encourage that independent learning and that learning mindset, rather than telling the child, "Here is what you do." So when we get this right, the child gets to be able to understand the journey, understand the process, so that they can apply it in the next problem or challenge, whether it be whatever subject it be. So where shall we go to, Patricia, to test ourselves?
Well, obviously I'm quite comfortable with primary.
Okay, we'll go to primary. There you go. Right, so primary is ages 3 to 11.
Yeah.
Key stage 1, key stage 2. Which key stage?
So key stage 2, England. Yeah.
Lovely.
This will bring us up with subject choices now, I think, if I'm right. Or
yeah, this is kind of different, isn't it, to how we navigated it the other day, because we want those lessons. Daily lessons are here. So we're just gonna, that's where it shows. I think it's a bit weird because we go into another. I mean, this is secondary. We've already chosen primary, but we still have the choice now between primary and secondary.
Right. Yeah.
Which year would you like to go for?
Can I go for year 6?
You can. Okay, so we'll go for year 6. And what day would we like to go for? So we are Thursday the 23rd today.
Yeah. What have we got? Oh, the 23rd's at the top. So they have the current day right at the top. I noticed yesterday.
Do we want to do today, or do we want to do something to prep for tomorrow?
Yeah, maybe something for tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow's maths is challenges, which we did yesterday.
We did.
There's a reading lesson. I think I looked at that. That's somebody reading something. We could do Who Were the Ancient Egyptians? History lesson.
That's the 20th of April, so that will have happened. Shall we go with it anyway, because this is an example, isn't it? And someone may not have covered that. I've got like a cat who looks very Egyptian on my lap at the moment, so she looks very approving. Right.
So okay. What will be happening in school? So the ancient Egyptians is a topic that you can teach somewhere within Key Stage 2. So all schools will be different. Now in our school, we teach it in year 3 and 4, and it's up to the school to decide how they teach it. So just because BBC Bitesize have put it into 5-6, it doesn't mean it has to be taught in 5-6. So it might be interesting to move around to look for the topic that your child is learning throughout the Key Stage, because it might be in another year group.
Okay, so would you just mooch around and have a look for it, or would there be a plan somewhere?
You can search, and that screen that we went to first, if you search in history, you'll be able to see all the different topics, and they have got all of them covered, I think.
Right, okay, fantastic. Okay, so what we've got here is a little video about an introduction to ancient Egypt. So let's assume that your child has read, has watched that video. So we assume that that's happened. The next thing is that this is actually laid out. I think Bitesize is really good because it's laid out very much as our Simply Changing learning platform, isn't it?
It is, yeah, really similar.
It's really similar. So, you know, we have a little introduction. It's me talking on a video. Then we have some text that you can read if you prefer. And then we have some activities to download. And I just think it's a really, really powerful format, actually, quite simple. So it says, watch this film to find out more about the ancient Egyptian pyramids. So where do we start to apply that knowledge? So this is knowledge-based, isn't it? So we're watching a couple of videos, we're learning information. So this is about remembering the information that we are given. And one of the ways of doing that is by asking questions or setting a task. And it challenges, oh, did I hear that? Or do I remember hearing that within the video? Which is a really good way of training our brains to pay attention, you know, the next time we watch a video, because you know we will be asked questions about it, so the videos become something that we can learn to pay more attention to. So it's a good learning aim, isn't it? It's a good learning mindset to develop.
It is, and we encourage when we do watch a video, and these are good because they're quite short, because you don't want children watching an hour worth of something because they will just switch off. So they're 3 or 4, 5 minutes, and then we have whiteboards and we encourage them to make notes. So sometimes we watch it through once just to get a feel for it, and then we'll watch it through again and say, just make some notes of keywords and things that will help you to remember what you've seen in the video when you come back to your notes.
Excellent, excellent. So just to summarize, you're advising people to make a few notes, bullet point notes or keywords or something like that, hashtags even, hashtags on what you can remember as you are listening to those videos. That's a great way of doing it. And I guess in this world of hashtags, children understand what they are, and so maybe they do remember in hashtags. Let's see. So practice. There are lots of fun and creative ways to learn about the ancient Egyptians, online and offline. Here are a few you could try. Activity 1, create your own pyramid treasure tomb. So download our pyramid treasure tomb template. Together follow our step-by-step guide to make your what that doesn't kind of, does that read right, or am I just going mad?
I think they might need a little comma. Together follow our step-by-step guide to make your own pyramid.
But who are you doing it with? Are they suggesting that you do this with somebody, or are we saying that this can be an independent activity of learning? So I'm a bit confused about the together. So what I'm going to do to allay my confusion and ask for your opinion on this, Patricia, is just to say, I think they've put a together in when it should have started with follow. And that's what I'm going. That's what I'm going to create in my own head, so that I don't have to worry about should my should my daughter or son be doing this with me or with somebody else in the family? Can they do it on their own? Yes, of course. I think there's enough resources here for a person to do things on their own. What do you think, Patricia?
Yes, yeah, I would agree with you. I suppose it's a choice, but like you say, this looks like it would be something that they could follow the instructions to make by themselves.
Yeah, definitely. We've just given everybody a passport to be able to do that. That's important. It says make your own treasure tomb. Download our treasure tomb template. So I'm going to download that, and that's what it looks like. So you're going to need a piece of thin card, colouring pencils, glue stick, scissors, and an adult will help you. So we want safety scissors, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that people who have children in the home will have access to a pair of safety scissors. If not, get a responsible adult to cut it out for you. That would be sensible, wouldn't it, Patricia? Do you think?
Absolutely, really important.
Right. So what are they doing? So they download this onto their computer. They may or may not have access to a printer. What would you do with this?
It looks like you print it out and then just fold it, and it makes a pyramid with hieroglyphs.
Of course it does. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant. So you've got to imagine that one-dimensional image as a three-dimensional object. So forgive me for asking this, but could you use like a 50p piece as a template, or is it too small?
That would be too small. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that would be too small, I think.
So how are we going to make this if we can't print that template out? What do you suggest?
So it's turning into a maths lesson, isn't it? Which is great. So, so I think if I didn't have a printer, you'd have a look at that, get yourself a ruler and a pencil, and you could quite easily copy those shapes. So talk to your child about what shapes they can see. So you could do a triangle template, couldn't you? And then copy that template 4 times so that you've got identical triangles.
You could.
That would be quite straightforward, I imagine.
Yeah, you definitely could. So you could take a triangle and draw around it to reveal that pattern. I'm thinking of technology, and if you put a piece of paper over the top of that and try to sort of copy around it, you might damage your computer. So I don't think I would do that. Could you fold pieces of paper to make 4 triangles of an equal size? Could you do that?
You could do. I'm just trying to do now. But you see, they are equilateral triangles, aren't they? They're the same length and the same size. They need the same. You could do that.
So would they be, if you had post-it notes, could you work it in a post-it note size? Is that too small, or would you need a sheet of A4? And if you had a sheet, so let's have a little go at that. Have you already started having a go at that, Patricia?
Without a huge, I haven't got scissors, but.
Okay, well, I'm going to pull out, I've got some lined paper in my book. And, you know, this is what Patricia and I do when we've been preparing those sessions. We actually do this and go, is that going to work? And is that going to work? Don't we?
We do. You've got to try it out.
So my triangle with a sheet of A4 doesn't work. It does. Oh, wait a minute.
You can get some triangles. You can get 2 triangles.
Well, I've got one. I'm just going to show you what that looks like. I don't know whether it's the right sort of triangle shape. Are there different triangle shapes? You see, there's lots of questions that come up, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lovely maths lesson. So I've managed to make, as you have, that shape.
Yeah.
But that is actually a different triangle to the one that they've got. Now, I don't know whether you could put 4 of those together to make a pyramid, because they're equilateral triangles. They're all identical size. This is a isosceles triangle. So you've got 2 sides of the same length and one of a different length. So that's a really lovely question. I wonder if we could still make our pyramid if we had a different triangle.
Right, okay. And we don't know the answer to that, do we? But we'll be able to find that out when we produce 4 triangles.
Yeah.
So what, just to show what I think we've both done with that, is that's my sheet of A4. That's my sheet of A4. And what I did was I just took this. See, that's the full sheet of A4. And I made a triangle shape by just folding that over. So I've got a pointy bit here and I've got a pointy bit there. So it's reasonably triangular. I folded that flap back, and then I'm left with this, and I folded that flap under. Did you do something similar to that, if anyone can see that?
Yeah, you can see that. Now, I actually made separate triangles, but much smaller than yours.
And how did you make them, Patricia?
I just folded down the edge of the piece of paper and then just tore that off. Yeah.
Right. So like you'd get a nice clean edge like that. Yeah. You got your ruler, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And you'd put your ruler on that edge there.
Yes.
And then you'd tear your piece of paper. Or if you had a pair of safety scissors, you could just cut that, couldn't you?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, that's fantastic. So I'm gonna go on.
Sorry, I was going to say, we said when we started, excuse me, if your child said to you, "Oh, I don't know how to do this," we always said, well, you could go away and you could come back. But how valuable would this be to say, "Oh, I don't know. Unfortunately, we don't have a printer, but shall we have a go and let's see what we can do?" And that will be a fantastic learning experience. And your pyramid that you get at the end of it is just a byproduct of some really great learning. There's probably not much to do with the Egyptians, but learning about being resourceful and trying things out.
Yeah, exactly. And well, whilst I'm doing this, I'm thinking we have a problem of working with pieces of paper that we can easily fold up and just hack around with. How on earth did the ancient Egyptians design those pyramids and transport all that stone and get the right shaped stone? They couldn't fold it and test it and stick it together with sticky back plastic and, you know, sellotape. I'm in Blue Peter land, obviously. And they didn't have all of that. So as I am doing my triangles, and this is genuine because we didn't even know what we were going to be covering, I'm thinking about, wow, the ancient Egyptians, how clever were they? How could they even conceptualize? How could they even imagine that a pyramid could be built? And, you know, the enormous logistical challenge that they set themselves, let alone anything else. So the person power to create it, the skills to create it, and all of that, just magical learning and reflection, and really good discussion point that you can be having with your child instead of telling them. Even if you know the answer, the discovery is just so much more enjoyable, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
So
it would be very tempting to say, "Oh, I'll be prepared, and I'll have this printed off. I'll organise the card and the scissors and the glue, and then I'll let them get on with it." But like you say, what we're doing is a journey of discovery.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. Because I'm now beginning to doubt. Oh no, I'm not. Why am I beginning? Oh, wait a minute. Look at this.
What have you got? I haven't got anything yet.
I've discovered that isosceles triangles, we only need 3 of them.
Aha.
So when we can't put a pyramid together with 4 because the angles would be wrong.
Yes.
So
Yes.
actually, if we put an isosceles triangle together on 2 sides like that, we've only got space for one more isosceles triangle.
Yeah, they've got a pyramid.
Is that a good discovery then?
It is, and I'm sure there must be a maths reason behind it. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I'm sure there is.
It must be the shape of the angles, mustn't it? Because these are isosceles, and you're not talking to a maths expert here. You're talking to someone who just literally got something in front of them that can imagine. So if we put those two together like that, the angles are flatter. It's a bit like having a flatter roof on a house than a high roof, because the angles are more acute. So if you've got what do you call the other triangle then?
That's an equilateral triangle.
So if you've got an equilateral triangle, then you've got a more acute, higher, steeper roof, haven't you?
Yeah.
These are flatter, broader, flatter.
Yes. So they will fit together.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. So they will fit together, but only 3 of them. 4 of them would make it all go pear-shaped.
Yes. Yeah.
Literally. Okay, so that's something new and different. I actually feel like I've discovered somewhere.
You can imagine how children would feel as well, can't you? They'd be, and children love when you, as the adult, learn stuff with them.
Yeah.
So I don't mind getting stuff wrong. I get stuff wrong all the time, and it doesn't worry me. I don't get upset about it. I don't worry about it. So I'll happily go into a math challenge or history, perhaps not knowing. And if you learn with them, you've got this natural energy and enthusiasm, and you go, oh, wow, I didn't know that, and they discover something and you discover something, and that's when lessons are brilliant, and that's the lessons that they remember and we remember.
Brilliant, Patricia. And yeah, because I'm not going to forget this in a hurry, that's for sure. But in my head right now, what I've got is a question: how do I make an equilateral triangle? How do I do that? So I can't just use the guide. If you remember, how I put this together was to take like this corner of the paper and let it meet, and wherever it met that corner of the paper, that then became the flap. So that was experimental, without having any knowledge of what I was doing. Folded that flap back, and then that flap was folded back too, right? So how do we make an equilateral triangle if we haven't got a template to use?
Probably something I should know. I don't know. I was exploring with what happens if you fold a isosceles triangle in half. What do you get? Oh, you get another isosceles triangle. You fold it in half again, you get another one. I found that quite interesting.
Ah, okay. You do, don't you?
Yeah. I think, do you need a square piece of paper maybe? Let's try that.
Right, square piece of paper.
There's a way of doing that.
Say so your post-it notes are square, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they're helpful, but they're quite small. So how do we make a square out of a side of A4?
So if you have your rectangle like that, I'm not convinced that this is going to make a triangle, but I'm just playing with an idea. And then if you fold it down like that, so you have got a triangle shape, fold the corner right down to the edge, and then
that's what I did. That's an isosceles, isn't it?
It is, but then I'm saying that gives us a square piece of paper.
Oh, okay.
I don't know whether that will make an equilateral triangle. It probably won't.
Oh, right, okay, but that gives us a square piece of paper, so let's give it a go. Right, have you done it then?
Yeah, I just about done it. It's a different starting point though.
This is hilarious though, isn't it?
Got all this paper everywhere. how do I make? So no, I can make.
Right, so that's a square. Have you got an equilateral triangle then? Yeah.
No, no.
Right, so that's a square. No, not going to work, is it?
Not going to work.
Because if you fold it over, so that's my square.
Yeah.
Like that, and if you fold it over, you still get that
You'll get
isosceles triangle where this and that side is shorter than that. So that's not what we want.
No.
Challenge is on. Right, let's look at those. Let's look at those shapes. There's someone watching us screaming out, "You stupid people, this is how to do it."
Yeah. I'm quite tempted to Google it.
Oh yes, that's a great idea. Go on, Google it, Patricia. What do we get? And while Patricia's doing that, I'm just going to read the instructions. So we colour in the pyramid template.
Well, I can't do it. Sorry.
Say again?
I can't do it while you're sharing your screen. I can't get onto my screen. So.
Can you not?
No.
Technologically, you can't. Can you not make yours small? Just minimise zoom in the top right-hand corner or something? All right, well, let me see if I can. I should.
Hang on, oh yeah, can I? No, I still can't.
So I can. How do I make an equal?
I've done it. Sorry, I am. We can both look.
Yeah, but this is good because this is our preparation, Patricia, isn't it, for our sessions? Yeah. And I'm quite liking the fact that that we're doing it in this way, that we're recording it. Whether we'll be brave enough to put it out.
Let's see what it looks like. Triangle out. All videos on it.
So while Patricia's doing that, I'll just come back to these steps. So step 1, colour in your pyramid top template. Cut out your pyramid top template along the solid black outside lines. Hold your template with the hieroglyphs facing upwards. Fold very carefully along the pyramid line. So if you have done your own, like we've done, then what you're going to want to do is copy that pattern of hieroglyphs, hieroglyphics. And so, you know, what I'm intrigued by is what do they mean? So I start to get intrigued by what am I drawing, as opposed to just cutting this template out and seeing them. But if obviously there's some lips there, there's a bird there, it looks like an egg, what a squiggly line that actually resembles a snake, or I've no idea what it is. So that's the next thing that you could do, is look at what do those signs mean, and then glue the tab marked X onto the underside of your adjacent triangle. So you'd end up with a finished product of a pyramid that's 3-dimensional and that has hieroglyphics patterns all across it. Patricia, how do we get an equilateral?
Well, I have actually found some instructions, which I'm trying to follow.
Right.
It's on the Enrich website, which we've talked about before, and I can read out the instructions. The last bit's not working for me.
Right. So does it say start with a sheet of A4 paper?
It says start with A4 paper.
Right.
And fold the paper in half long ways.
Long ways, right.
Can you see me or not?
Yes.
Okay. And then open it out flat. So I did that.
Yep. So like that.
Then it says fold the bottom corner up to touch the fold line, making a sharp point on the other corner.
Right. Yeah.
And this is where it gets tricky. Then they've coloured something in red, which is this edge and this edge, and it says now fold the 2 red edges together, which I think
the two red edges together, which looks like it's going back on itself then.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
we ended up with another isosceles triangle there.
No, we've got to do some more.
Okay.
Then it says fold under the corner and tuck it out of the way.
Fold under the corner and took it out of the way.
Is that bit. Oh, I'm nearly there.
Are you?
I'm nearly there.
So which corner are you folding under?
So I got this far, and then I took this corner and thought I needed to fold that under. I can see how it is heading towards an equilateral triangle, but I've done something wrong here. Now, normally at this point, I say to my children, okay, off you go. Some wonderful soul will do it and then show me how to do it.
Can we have a wonderful soul, please? Have you got access to a wonderful soul? Right, okay, so this is at the point where you say, let's have a break.
Yes.
And then, or not, or you say, this is what to Google. I'm going to Google something that says, how do I make an equilateral triangle from,
Actually, possibly.
just tell me how you spell isosceles.
ISOSCELES.
Right. Right, okay, so, right. Now we get YouTube videos that say the isosceles triangle theorem, isosceles and equilateral triangle problems from the Khan Academy, and I think the Khan Academy are amazing.
They are, I use that, yeah.
And how to draw an equilateral triangle given the measurement. Well, we haven't got any measurements.
No.
So let's just see if we can get something else. Triangles, equilateral isosceles, and okay, so it doesn't say we can get one from another anywhere.
No.
Can an equilateral triangle be an isosceles triangle too? Is that going to be a big conceptual question, or is it?
Yeah, that's a big question to explore.
Okay, so we'll not go there then.
Triangle construction.
So it's the angle, isn't it? Is it the angle?
Yeah, so all triangles have to have a total of 180 degrees. So an equilateral, because they're all equal, each angle will be 60 degrees.
Right. Right. So
I'm very nearly there.
So even if we had a square, it doesn't give us an equilateral triangle.
No, but if you searched, what did I do? I looked up
angle. So we have to measure that, don't we?
Well, I tell you what, if you would think, and I would know how to do that and how to draw it, but making it, I could draw it and cut it out, but this is more interesting.
Yeah.
So if you put equilateral triangle folding.
Okay.
Enrich.
Enrich?
Enrich. Letter N and then the word rich.
Oh, yeah.
You could come something interesting, hopefully.
Okay, so folding enrich. Right.
Yeah, your first result should give you something interesting. This is what I'm trying to follow.
Okay. Oh my word.
Oh no, that, yeah.
Can you see my screen? Is that what you were looking at?
Yeah, no, mine was much more straightforward. Try clicking on this exploratory task. That'll take you to a page. So at the top it says in green, this exploratory task.
This one here, that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Right.
I've actually, so this is saying that this is an activity they could do. Maybe click on solution. I managed to get to the instructions somehow.
Solution, where is that?
Top left.
Oh yeah.
There are lots of answers depending on what question you ask. That's helpful. Oh dear. If you go back to your search, I can take you to where I got to.
Right, go on then. So I'm in Enrich and I'll search within it. So what am I looking for?
Folding equilateral triangle.
Equilateral.
That's it, yeah. Okay. Hang
on, making 60.
No, it wasn't that.
Yeah, but why does this fold create an angle of 60 degrees? And that's what we need, isn't it?
It is what we need.
Shall we have a little look at that, or what do you think?
Or that one that says fold. No, that's the one we were on, folding. Yeah.
Well, let's give making 60 a little bit of a squiff. And then you've got your long thing again, haven't you? So we've got our piece of paper.
Yeah, this is what I'm trying to do.
Folding it down the middle like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's different than I anticipated it to be. So what I was doing before was I'd got that little fold over.
Yeah, that's what I did. This looks like a bigger fold.
It looks like it's not an equal fold, is it? It's an equal fold. How the hell are they doing that then?
So it says you have created some angles now. So you fold along the middle, you open out, and then you... Oh, they've taken... No, I can't do it.
So my problem is, because I have a dyslexic tendency brain, I can't quite work that out. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's really well true. No, I've done it. Right, okay. So I flattened my piece of paper.
Yeah.
I'm going from this corner here and remembering that it's not just about getting it along this line here. So I'm going to fold my paper across until this corner is there's a pointy bit at this corner, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And the other pointy bit, so the pointy bit that would have been here is on the middle line. That's it. Yeah?
Yes. But now it doesn't tell us the next part of it.
Oh, that's very helpful then.
If you click down there, equilateral triangle folding, that might take us to the next part.
Right.
So all we've done is made an angle of 60 degrees now.
Where is the angle of 60 degrees? Is it here?
That down here looks like...
So if that was my piece of paper, 60 degrees there. It must be. Right. Oh my word. Okay, so right, equilateral triangle folding. This is the next bit.
That's where we're on. Okay, so we've done that fold. So now we've got that red edge and that red edge.
Right, so I've got two imaginary red edges, which you could actually
got it.
Red.
Yeah, and if you fold those down, you get a nice clean line. Like making a paper airplane. And then you tuck in that little bit. Got one.
Okay. And then you tuck in the little bit. Right, okay. So I
like that.
my challenged brain has just managed to do that first fold. So I've got something that looks exactly like their plan.
Yeah.
Hang on. So so they took that over.
Yeah.
Oh, I took it under, I think. Oh, I've got some existing folds in it. So is that an equilateral triangle?
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah.
It's slightly squiffy here for some reason.
It's a little bit there.
Don't know why.
Those three angles should be the same. Now, what you could do, she says, if you have an equilateral triangle, to prove that it's an equilateral triangle, if you cut off this, don't try this, but this angle here, this angle here, and this angle here, you can arrange them to make a straight line. You're going to do it, aren't you?
You can arrange them to make a straight line.
Yeah, it's a maths activity that we do, which is really good fun.
Like these coloured ones here. So the straight line is here, for example.
Yes, yeah. So you can do that with the corners of your triangle, exactly.
Okay, so they don't go off at an angle, they just sit beautifully like this.
Yeah, because it's 60 degrees, 60 degrees, 60 degrees, which is 3 times 60 is 180 degrees, and 180 degrees is a straight line. So it's a really nice maths proving activity.
Wow, well, there you go. Well, apart from the fact that my Egyptian workmanship was not particularly brilliant for some reason. So we've now got an equilateral triangle. So for me, that was quite a journey to go on. I've never done anything like that since I was probably at school. But what fun, because what I am fascinated by, and I kid you not, I am fascinated by roofs and angles of roofs, and you know, you look at how some houses have got like back to back, haven't they? Back to back roofs.
Yeah.
So it keeps the angle low and the roof low. And then you've got others which are big houses and they've got one big roof and the roofs are very tall. And I'm very, very fascinated by that in a very aesthetic rather than a mathematical way. So I think that that this has been quite interesting, actually. Right, shall we go back to the activity? So we've got quite a lot out of it, haven't we?
We did. And you know that moment you and I both had it when we folded it and suddenly it turned into something looking like a triangle that we wanted, and you went aha, and I did the same. But that, I know we talk about aha moments, and that I remember someone asking me years ago, a teacher when I was at school, why do you want to be a teacher? And I said to him, that moment when the child goes, oh, I've got it. And that's what everyone says to me about teaching, and as parents people know that as well, but that's just so uplifting, that moment when they figure it out, you haven't told them, and they go, oh, I can see it now. That felt like that. It was really good.
And I have to say that you bringing that up leads me straight back into coaching, because when we're coaching people and people discover the, metaphorically, the equilateral triangle for themselves, and they discover their ability to be able to create it and understand it and do something with it, those are aha moments too. And that's why actually this process of learning is very, well, it just mirrors coaching, because that discovery is far more valuable for me than someone telling me how to do it. Luckily, we've got Google. Thank heavens for that. And and we just have the ability to be able to play around with something. So that's fantastic. Right, so assuming that we've done all those points, that we've coloured it in and we've glued it together, imagine that we have 4 now. We would have 4 sides to this, which is different than what we had with the isosceles triangle. You would then be able to glue it together and get your 3D model of the pyramid. So then, so I guess that's job done then. So we can go, oh, look what I made today. So the satisfaction of spending some time colouring it in and so on. And actually, if you do it with, I've just discovered this as well, if you do it with lined paper, can I just go back to that? Yeah, if you do it with lined paper, you've got these lines in already. So you could actually quite neatly, I think, yeah, you could, oh, you've got those lines in, dependent on what angle you use. You could quite neatly just put some horizontal lines across there and keep your hieroglyphics really neat, which is fab. So that would help with the creatives in the house,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
And then, like you say as well, I think you were saying it while I was folding, but you can find out about hieroglyphs yourself, or hieroglyphics, and the children could write their own. They love writing their names. The most exciting thing in the world is to write your name in hieroglyphics. They spend hours doing that because they're such complex, intricate letters. They can do some really lovely, creative artwork with them, and the fact that it's their name makes it even more special.
Wow, I love that idea. So we're going to be doing that as well. So what are the hieroglyphics for Patricia, and what are the hieroglyphics for Louise? Now I have a question that's just come up in my mind. So it did say hieroglyphs. Are hieroglyphs like the collective, and are hieroglyphics the individual? So, or am I using the term hieroglyphics incorrectly? Do we know?
I do not know. I think you're right about the collective and the individual. I think when we talk about the style of writing, we say hieroglyphics and the actual characters are hieroglyphs, but I could be wrong, but that's what I
Right,
think.
right. So that's something else to discover, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so we can create our own name, and we've come up with some more questions that are really useful. And now we have an Egyptian quiz. Shall we have a go?
We didn't watch the videos. We can have a
We
go.
didn't watch the videos. So let's say a child had skipped past the videos. Now would be a good time to remember to go back and listen to them. Let's just see what comes up, shall we?
Yeah.
Wow. So test your knowledge and see how much you can remember about the ancient Egyptians. Because I'm guessing we could go back to that written piece as well, couldn't we? So let's just see. Yeah?
And this is great, as well as it being history, it's great comprehension skills. So, like we talked about 2 days ago, this is a retrieval skill.
Yeah.
So I can go back to that piece of writing and I can find the answer to that question.
Lovely. And this is something that you can either do it as we're doing it. We're on this journey of discovery across the internet, or you could leave your child to come up with the answers to these questions. There are only 4 questions, which means that we know we're in question 1 when the question is ancient Egyptian civilization began how many years ago? 5,000 or 2,000. So the only way we can know the answer to that is having discovered the answer to that question. And I'm fairly confident that if we scroll up in that text, as well as in the videos, it should show the answer to that question. Look at the first line. Woo-woo!
I can see it.
So that's cool. So forgive everybody because I'm scooting up and down, but we could have guessed that, but now we know for certain, and we can tick and feel really confident in ticking 5,000 years, which I think is quite a nice thing to do, to think, yeah, we got that right, it's not a guess. So the next question is, which river did the ancient Egyptians start to build villages next to? So if we know, there's a map somewhere, isn't there? Where was the map? Have I imagined a map?
No, I saw a map.
Did you see a map?
I did see a map, but it might have been within a video.
It might have been.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we know that ancient Egyptians come from Egypt, and Egypt is a different country than the UK, we can work out a process of deduction, through a process of deduction, what the answer to this question is. Equally, if we chose to, we could scroll up and find the answer. So there are different ways of answering that question, aren't there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's your known knowledge. They might know, well, we went to London and we saw the River Thames. Do you remember we had a picnic on the Thames? So that's a fact that you know, and you don't need to go and find that information. And we as adults might assume that, well, that's really easy. And I am guilty of that lots of times. And you will then find children saying, oh, I'm not sure, I'll go and check. So yes, like you say, they might know, or they might have to go and find out.
Brilliant, brilliant. So if we go and find out, all we have to do is scroll up or Google it. We can, but the answer will be up there in the written text. And just to prove that point, let's just have a little scroll up. I've not read this text, so I'm just guessing that it is going to talk about the Nile. Hopefully. There we go, River Nile. Yeah. There you go, third line. So that's fantastic. So our children you can be safe in the knowledge that the answers are here, which is lovely. So we'll click on the River Nile, again, knowing that we've got that right. We already know we've got the answer to that right. Now that, going through that process has a different emotional energy to it, because you go, yeah, I'm 100% certain I've got the answer to that right, and I feel differently than if I go, oh, is it, oh, don't you do pub quizzes and you kind of think you know the answers, and I love pub quizzes, but I'm really bad at them, and I really enjoy them, and then I hate the marking at the end, because what, I thought it was that, why is it that? But here we this is different. This is like, I'm solid, I'm grounded. And I'm going to talk about groundedness in a separate video, really. What this does is it grounds the learner, doesn't it, Patricia? Would you agree?
It does, and it gives them confidence to move on to the next question, and it gives them that confidence about this as a topic. So then hopefully they'll be keen when they see somebody else, they say, what have you done today? They're like, oh, I learned about the Egyptians and I knew this and I knew that. So that's what you're for.
Fantastic. So the next question 3 or 4, we know we've got 2 more questions left. We've got question 3 and we've got question 4. What system of writing did the ancient Egyptians invent? Was it calligraphy or hieroglyphs? There you go, hieroglyphs. So we chatted about that not so long ago. So obviously we've read that as we were putting the pyramid together, because we drew the hieroglyphs on the pyramid. And see, we're learning, aren't we, Patricia?
Yeah. We are.
Hilarious. It's hilarious. So if we can remember that that's what we've done, we would go for hieroglyphs. If we weren't sure, we'd scroll back up. So I'm going to scroll back up, because I'm really mindful that this scrolling back up now is, I want to know the answer. So my mindset now is thinking about what is the answer to this. So we're developing that lovely curiosity. So I'm not thinking, oh, I'm going to be wrong, I'm not even in that emotional space. I'm in curious space, curious state, as I go, where does it mention hieroglyphs? Look at that. There it is. It even pops it out for you. Woo, woo, woo. So you think, if you think, oh, I think I remember hieroglyphs, and there you are. You've got your reassurance. You go, curious. Ah, there's the answer. There's the answer. So, and that feels good. I'm grounded again. So as a learner, I'm grounding myself because I've got certainty.
And you can see that in a classroom where children are insecure and they're not convinced, and perhaps it's a topic they think that they're not good at, or a subject they think they're not good at, if you can provide a resource like this, which is clear, easy to follow, work with them to model and show how to use it effectively, and then you let them go. It's like just you go and you watch them be confident. While you're talking, I'm envisaging children in my class who are like that. They're like, I knew that, let's move on, let me do the next one. And they know the pattern, they know the routine. And that's developing independent learning, and like you say, that confidence in what they're doing, and they're obviously feeling grounded.
Yeah, which I think is amazing. And just coming back to the easy point about we have 4 questions. We have 3 questions that we absolutely know we've got right, and I'll just click hieroglyphs there, and we know we only have 1 more question. So we're not going in ad infinitum into a bunch of questions like we don't know when is this ever going to end. We're in question 4 of 4, so therefore we go, okay, now I'm going to get 100% if I get this right. And now I'm motivated. I don't know about you, Patricia, but I want to get this right. Do you?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Brilliant. So question 4 of 4, the ancient Egyptians were ruled by kings and queens called, and the choices that you have are royalty or pharaohs. So could a child of this age understand that we have Queen Elizabeth, Prince Charles, that we have royalty? Would they know that? Would they remember that? Would they?
Yeah, they probably would. They probably would do. I definitely encourage what you're doing, that thinking, oh, I know that from my own experience, but we always encourage them to go back and just double check, just to be sure where you have that information.
Fantastic, fantastic. So even if I think I know that it's pharaohs, in order to be grounded in my certainty that I've got it correct, you're suggesting we go back and check?
Yes. Yeah.
Great. So that, because that is actually developing certainty, which leads to feeling grounded, and that leads to that confidence, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly.
So let's have a little look and see if the word pharaohs pops out at us at some point. And there it does. It's very reliable, this, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I now know I can trust the information that the answer is going to be in there. And if I can trust the information, I can trust that I'm getting it correct. There's so much about learning confidence in this activity, isn't there?
There is, and it's just building inside of them. So then hopefully then, and then when something's going well, sometimes it's really tempting to keep on going. But, you know, like you say, 4 questions is enough, and it's celebrate that and enjoy that. So then tomorrow, when they come to another activity, which may not be about the Egyptians, maybe something else, like you say, that confidence is in there, that I was hugely successful yesterday. So let's see what I can do today.
Fantastic, fantastic. And I'm really mindful. We know that we're in lockdown at the moment because COVID-19 is a virus that we don't yet have an antidote to. And the only way that an antidote is going to be discovered is by having a learning mindset. If the scientists don't have a learning mindset, that antidote is never going to be found. So research is important and exploration is important, and we only move forward when we open our minds to having questions that we don't yet know the answer to, and the sheer joy of knowing that is celebrated in adult life. I wished I'd known that as a child. I had no concept of that as a child. I thought adults knew everything. I really believed adults knew everything. I had no idea about learning mindsets at all. So I think I'd be a different person had I had the opportunity to be confident as a learner, definitely. Because the curiosity is there, Patricia.
It is, yeah.
I'm going to go for pharaohs. Okay, we're happy with that.
Hey,
Wow!
all those lovely tips.
We did it, Patricia.
It's wonderful.
That's really nice. That's so, look, your result, 4 out of 4. Answer 1,
Yeah.
answer 2, answer 3, answer 4.
Yeah.
That's so lovely to get.
That is great, yeah.
That's really, really cool. I just love that. I feel I've got so much enjoyment out of that whole process. I can only imagine if I were, you know, in key stage 2 in school, learning from home, that I could become independent. And once I've gone through a few of these processes, I'll feel much more confident to go through more of them by myself. Would you, Patricia?
Yes, yeah, exactly. And that's a really good point as well. So doing it with your child the first few times and, you know, allowing that confidence to build, then they will be happy to go and explore it properly and enjoy it. Because my concern sometimes about online learning, I know children who will click through and go, done, finished, what's next?
Yeah.
If they've had a really great experience with it, they've been like, look at me, I got a 4 out of 4 because I went, because I checked. Yeah, and we really shared that and celebrated that. They'll want that again.
Yeah. Yeah, lovely, lovely. So there's certainty and groundedness going in, and even though you know you've got all the 4 answers right, that seeing it on the screen there is proof of the pudding. It's just so motivating, and you feel happy. So if we can feel happy by undertaking, we went into this not having any clue what this was going to involve. That's one of my dogs, by the way, is having a look. Sorry about that, everyone. And we went into this not knowing anything about what we were going to be faced with. What I would recommend you do is actually watch the videos and listen to them, because I'm sure there's lots and lots of information in there. We've relied on the written information, and we've had a lot of fun in the process. We've got our equilateral.
I'm quite proud of my triangle, actually.
Pardon?
I'm quite proud of my triangle.
Absolutely, and we've got two types. I'm going to show a slight angle. Yeah. Fantastic, Patricia. Thank you very much. What a super duper session. Do you know what I think we're going to do? I'm just going to put this out. People may think it's horrendous. People may think it's useful. We're going to put it out anyway. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, I think it's something you might pop on and listen to, and then gradually you think, oh, this is quite interesting. So, yeah, and just so much learning out of a really simple activity.
Really yeah, absolutely. So much learning out of a really, really simple activity. And if I could stop sharing, we'll come back to, there we are. We've been tucked up the corner there, haven't we? Doing our thing as we've been sharing the screen. Thanks, Patricia, for your time today. And everybody that's listening, I hope you had as much fun as we did.
It's been a great time. It's good fun.
Take care, everyone. Bye, Patricia.
Bye.
Bye.